Hey friends, Steve Guttenberg here. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show, and today it's all about the GoldenEar technology BRX stand mount speaker. It's a honey. First of all, it's beautiful. It sounds fantastic. So it's a two-way, clearly, obviously. It has a folded ribbon tweeter, 6-inch mid woofer. Now the thing is, those two drivers, the folded ribbon tweeter and the mid woof, they are derived from the Triton reference, GoldenEar's flagship model. So this is like the mini flagship, you could think of it that way. But what makes it really special is on the sides of this beautiful little cabinet are 6.5-inch passive radiators, planar, meaning flat, passive radiators. So though it's small, only 12 inches high or so, it has a lot of low-end heft to the sound. It sounds a lot bigger than it is, and it's low-frequency response thanks to those passive radiators and clever design. They say it goes down to 40 hertz in the spec. I wouldn't go 40, but I'd say 45 in this rather large room. So it's an amazingly powerful little speaker. Now, more about that in the review. But I have to say something about the passive radiators before I go any further, because I think they're sort of misunderstood by a lot of audiophiles. And the thing about passives in this particular speaker is, well, Sandy Gross, the founder of GoldenEar Technology, he has a history in the audio biz. He was co-founder of Polk Audio and also a co-founder of Definitive Technology speakers, and both of those companies use passive radiators. I didn't actually know until I spoke to Sandy about this that one of the very first Polk speakers, the Model 9, had passive radiators, 4-inch passive radiators. I want to show you a picture of it, a rather crude picture. It's the best I could find on the internet, but he knows how to do passive radiators. Now, Sandy is not the designer of the speaker. He is he sees the bigger picture of speaker design, and he has engineers that work with him. But he knows where he's going with passives, and a lot of speaker designers don't. They don't really get it. But it's better than a port. It's different than a port. First of all, there's no port noise from a passive radiator. But also, if you know what you're doing and you can control the passive radiators, it works really, really well. And this little speaker, the BRX, is definitive proof how good it can be, how effective it can be in extending a very small speaker's low-end response. Now, of course, I will link to a complete list of specifications on the GoldenEar site, but I will cite that it is an 8-ohm speaker. It has a 90 dB sensitivity spec, which seems a little optimistic to me. I don't think it's anywhere near as sensitive as that, but I didn't measure it, so I can't say. I can just say, let's see how that all works out. So there is one design detail that really jumped out at me. When you look at the speaker, take off the grill, and at the bottom of the front baffle, you see what I refer to as a lip. It sticks out about 1 inch from the baffle. Now when you put the grill on, it sort of looks like it belongs in. The grill has big thick felt at the bottom where that lip is. But still, there's got to be some diffractions or reflection coming off that lip. Don't give me no lip. Anyway, it doesn't need to be there. There's a backstory as to why it's there, but I'm still not too thrilled that it's there. Now, the thing is, the problems that it could cause in terms of diffraction and reflections, they're not evident in the sound of the speaker. The imaging is just so fantastic. This is a great, great, great imaging speaker. It's big, it's spacious, it's extremely focused image. I wouldn't say the depth is the best, but in terms of left to right and projection forward, these speakers really, really, really disappear. They recommend using 30-inch tall stands. I have 28.5-inch high stands. I think that's close enough for rock and roll. As I'm getting acclimated to the speaker and I have it set up, I'm using different amplifiers. I'll tell you about that in a second. But the thing that grabbed my attention right away, even more important than the bass, was the mid-range. Vocals sounded right. So right. And even vocals that kind of bug me sometimes, like Holly Cole's Temptation records, a little too digital. Not this time. Actually, it had just the right balance of warmth, detail, body, soul, whatever you want to call it. The tonality of this speaker, especially in the mids, was really right on the money. Beautifully done. Now that folded ribbon tweeter, whew, wow. You know, the thing is, it's effortless. It just has this clarity, extension, detail. That, I think, is one of the reasons why it images so well and creates this huge stage, but great detail, great specificity in the image. Yes, cymbals had just the right sparkle, delicacy, shimmer, brassiness. All those qualities were so well presented by this little speaker. So one of the recordings I used that sounds really good, David Chesky's paintings. I'm going to show you a picture of it right now. It's a piano trio recording. I've referred to this before. And I was at this session. It was done at a church, and I sat out with the trio. David was playing piano, Peter Washington on bass, Billy Drummond on drums. I sat maybe 8 or 10 feet away from the trio for most of that session. So I had a really, really good fix on the sound, the actual sound of these three musicians playing. And when I played it over the BRX, the first thing that grabbed me was the cymbals, actually, because Billy Drummond was playing, he brought all these different cymbals to the session. And that sense of detail, shimmer, space, the size of the cymbals was so beautifully, so well captured. David's piano touch, his dynamics, soft to loud, Peter's bass. Now, Peter's bass at the session sounded big, really big, and really fat. Not a lot of like string definition, a lot of plucking sounds and everything, just this weight, this scale, this body. And these little speakers did that so well. I was truly blown away that these little guys could do that and get that bass body, that wood just came through so well. Really shocking. But then the other thing that was nice was, again, it was recorded in a church, not in a dry, dead recording studio with ambience added later. No, this was actual room sound, room space. It was the sound of the church itself, the space. No added reverb was necessary. It was there in the recording itself, and now coming through the BRX speakers. Pretty good. So I played all kinds of rock. Oh, I should tell you about the amplifier. So I used basically two. I used a Mytek Brooklyn amp, which is 250 watts a channel into 8 ohms. It's Class D. And I used a Past Labs XA25, 25 watts into 8 ohms, Class A amplifier. They sounded very different. I definitely think the Past Labs was the better sounding amp, but it's a lot more money. Anyway, rocking out to the Rolling Stones with Sticky Fingers and Led Zeppelin. I was sort of in a classic rock mood. It sounded really good, but I did not enjoy playing these speakers loud with rock music. You know, loud up to a point, medium-ish loud, not loud. I definitely felt their size limitation when I really pushed it. They are little speakers, and when you really want to crank it hard, they're going to sound like little speakers. If you need to do that, obviously you could add a sub and high pass the speakers and take some of the load off them. That would probably work pretty well. But I would still say you should just buy a bigger speaker. If you want to rock out, you should buy a bigger GoldenEar speaker, like a Triton. I guess it's the 7. I think I reviewed that years ago for CNET. I will put the correct one underneath here, what I'm thinking of. But anyway, buy a bigger speaker if you really need to rock out. But up to medium-ish loud, the BRX was just doing it for me. It was fun. It was exciting. And again, Mick Jagger's vocals were so well handled by this speaker. That was kind of a surprise. The GoldenEar Technology BRX has a lot going for it. As little speakers go, and it is really small, it sounds big. It makes amazing bass for its size. Its mid-range is stunning. Top end is absolutely glorious. The price, I neglected to mention the price, is $1,599 a pair. So yeah, if that fits your needs, I would strongly recommend checking it out. My name is Steve Guttenberg. This is the Audiophiliac Daily Show. Right now coming to you 4 and 5 days a week. If you dig it, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you have already subscribed, thank you so much for that. You can check out my Patreon at patreon.com/audiophiliac. But if you can't write it down that quickly, no worries. You can just find it, the link to that, directly below in the description there. You can follow me on Twitter at AudiophiliacMan, on Instagram at steve.guttenberg. While you're here, though, check out the playlist. There's playlists for speaker reviews and headphone reviews and electronics reviews and music reviews. And in some ways, best of all, the interviews I've done with famous people in the audio industry like Nelson Pass and Dan D'Agostino and Matt Weisfeld from VPI. Tons and tons and tons of interviews. John Grado. Good times to be found there. Anyway, I think my work here is at last complete. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you back here again soon, maybe even tomorrow.